This one I was a little bit surprised about, only because I was kind of anticipating them to draft Jeremiah Love in the draft.
Mm.
But this is the Chiefs have decided to pick up
Yeah.
the hot Kenneth
Whoa,
Walker on
whoa.
a deal.
Man.
$45 million coming off a Super Bowl MVP. They swooped
Deal
him
of the
up.
day.
So, Skip, was it the right move by the
Yeah.
Chiefs?
Look, on Jeremiah Love, I assume they were just sitting at number 9 on Jeremiah Love until the combine. And
Mhm.
in about just barely over 4 seconds, all that changed because he ran highly impressively in the 40 and just lit up the combine to the point that there is no way he's going to last to number 9. I'm not sure he's going to be outside the top 5. So obviously they went to plan B for Kenneth Walker. And I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I didn't love him until the end of the year. And then I don't know what fire got lit underneath him, but he caught fire at the end of the year. Because in the opening game, I don't know if Kinsey remembers this, but San Francisco beat them in the opener. It was 17-13, and Kenneth Walker went 10 carries for 20 yards and caught 3 balls for 4 yards.
I had
Then
him
he
on my
bounced back.
fantasy.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I was
And then
disappointed all season.
he did bounce back at Pittsburgh for what it's worth, but everybody ran on Pittsburgh the next week, and he went 13 for 105. And yet that was the only time he topped 100 yards. There was one other time in that Rams game on that Thursday night, December 18th, that he went 11 times for 100 yards. That was in overtime. He caught 3 balls for 64. But then he started in that last regular season game against the 49ers. He started it to get his feet underneath him, and he went 16 times for 97 yards, caught 4 balls for 36. And then in the playoff games, he started going crazy. 19 for 116 against your Niners and caught 3 for 29. And then against the Rams in the NFC Championship game, he ran for 62, but he caught 4 for 49. He can catch it and get loose with it. And then against New England, he made a lot of money for himself because he went 27 carries for 135 and just dominated and caught 4 balls for 26 more. So what I like about him is he does not turn the ball over. He went the whole year, only 1 ball was on the ground, and he recovered that one. So he had no fumbles lost, and he can catch it. And he's shifty and hard to get a hold of. He's got a little bit of Emmett in him. He's built like Emmett at 5'9", goes 211. So, again, they're hoping that the fire that he caught at the end of the year will continue into the first of the year in Kansas City. And I'm not sure about that because his history would tell you he's just pretty good. In the last 4 games of the year, he was great. And that's why they jumped on it. But I'm pretty sure he was their plan B because there's no way Jeremiah Love will be there at number 9.
I think this was the play of the day, man. This is the play of the day. The Chiefs get their back. You know what I'm saying? They got Eric Bieniemy back there. He got a little bit of that Chicago Bears sauce to that run game. I think those 3 things together is going to crank up that run game. And the other thing that's going to crank up that run game is going to be this offensive tackle that they draft with this number 9 pick. You know what I'm saying? They're going to go get the best tackle available. He's going to come in, be a day 1 starter, a nice athletic guy who can run these outside zones. Man, I think that the Chiefs are doing what they do, man. They building through the draft. They get a guy in free agency, man, who's going to be immediate impact. He showed what he can do when he's the guy. He split time. You want to split time with him and Charbonnet. You believe in both of them. That was a decision made by the organization. When one of them went down and you had to lean on him, he showed what he can do. He showed what he could do in the past, too, man. You see him, he got 1,000-yard seasons, touchdowns in the past. He easily could be the guy, but he showed what he can do in big games, man. I think the Chiefs love what they saw. And in my opinion, Skip, it don't get no better than this, man. That's from a need perspective, and the guy who you got for that need, easily the play of the day for me.
So you're saying the Chiefs are now better than the Broncos?
Nah, they shaking back though.
Man,
They
that's
definitely shaking back though, man. The Chiefs are always gonna be our number 1 op out there. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get through them, they gotta get through us. It's always going to be that way. I don't care how the Chargers look. They the little bros, man. It's going to be the Chiefs and the Broncos, and the Chiefs made a play today that put them right back where they need to be.
Yeah, this is a move that hurts us as Broncos for sure. But not only it hurts the rest of the league. You know, now the Chiefs are plus 800 odds of winning the AFC. They right there with the Bills and above the Broncos and the Patriots, who was just in the AFC Championship game. Immediately, one player. But all that you mentioned, Skip, about his production tells me one thing. He was splitting carries with Charbonnet.
He was.
Running backs, you mentioned Emmitt Smith. Back in the day, your running backs got 30 carries. They got
did.
time to get going. You know, they got time to warm up throughout the game, fill out the defense. These days, these backs are splitting carries, so they don't get the feel of the game like they used to. Once towards the latter end of the season, when he was the main one, he started getting the feel of the game. He started being a threat in the passing game as well, being able to fake blocks, slip out for screens. Now you involved in the whole game. Your production goes up. You feel the defense. You feel the moment. You feel everything. And he just showed towards the end of this season, not only can I hold the weight of an entire offense on my shoulders, but I do the best in the biggest games. And you know the Chiefs stay in the biggest games. So they need a back like him. You keep your draft picks open, like Lee said, you get a tackle, you got 2 first rounds and 2 third-round picks. You could use those third rounds to go up if you want to get a receiver or another offensive lineman. Like, you got freedom in that draft now. That whole draft, really the top end of that draft, you can make some big moves to help your team. Kelce coming back, they just said. So, man, you got the key pieces. They said Mahomes going to be back week 1. And it relieves Holmes. It relieves Pat. Like, he don't have to do everything. You know, I can slip it off to Kenneth. You know, he's great in pass blocking as well. So
he is
on the screens, the enemy. He's a hell of a running backs coach, hell of an offensive coordinator. So, man, look, the Chiefs done made a play to put them right back to the top of the AFC. So, yeah, that was a great move for them.
Yeah. I agree with both Aqib and TJ. And you know what else that tells me? It tells me that Kenneth Walker, who had 1,000 yards in the regular season, can both excel as a 1-2 combo with another back, but he also can excel when all the pressure's on his shoulders and you need him to be an every down back. I think versatility at the running back position in today's era of football and the way that these offenses are ran are extremely important. Another thing that tells me, Skip, is that even though you say, you know, he was average throughout the year, still had 1,000 yards as a rusher, but when the playoffs came around, he turned it up. And TJ said they're always in the playoffs, so they need a guy that they know can perform on the big stage. But I've been saying this really all season long, that even with the success the Chiefs have had in recent years, they still needed to address that running back position. They were 25th this season. They were 22nd in rushing last season, 19th the year before, 20th the year before that. They went to the Super Bowl, won a couple Super Bowls, but you can't rely on that year in to year out. And now you have Patrick Mahomes, who's getting up there a little bit in age. And last year, he had 4 games where he was their leading rusher. That can't happen for your two-year quarterback. You need him to protect himself. You got to have more production out of the backfield. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt last season both averaged less than 4 yards per carry, and they both averaged only 35 yards per game. Mahomes averaged 30 yards per game rushing. That's not a recipe for success. If Andy Reid, if Eric Bieniemy want to get back to having the offense that we know they're capable of having, then they got to be 2-dimensional. They got to be able to run the football, take some of that pressure off Mahomes. Because if you're 1-dimensional, Lieb, TJ, you guys know this, it's easy for a defense to prepare for you. All right, let's take the pass game away. Let's frustrate Mahomes a little bit. Let's force you to run the football. And if you can't do that, then you can't keep up, right? And you're not going to have, you know, day in and day out or week in and week out to where you can get away with Mahomes having to throw it 50 to 60 times a game or putting a lot of pressure on his right arm. You know, we've seen him do it in the past. That's not longevity, and that's not a success or a recipe for success. So love this move. I'm with Aqib. I think Kenneth Walker is going to be a great fit in Kansas City, and this could be the play of the day, maybe even the play of free agency.
Hey, before you go real quick, Skip, Seattle, they used to bring in Charbonnet like in the red zone a lot too. Like, just
they did
your morale as a running back. Like, I want touchdowns. That's gonna crank me up and have me ready to go. So I didn't really like how they used to do that, man. They used to bring in Charbonnet, let him score a lot of touchdowns. He was on my fantasy, and I like the fact that's why I picked him on my fantasy, because he scored a touchdown every damn week. You know what I'm saying? So that's another key part to when he finally became the man. You could see that extra bounce, that extra juice, because now he get to score the buckets, man. That's what all running backs want. They want to score the buckets, man. He'll definitely get to do that in KC.
I am excited to see him like in a full
Okay.
season with getting majority of the
You-
snaps because I'm gonna disagree just a little bit because I saw 4 full games. I had him on my fantasy. I was watching Kenneth Walker closely all season. I wasn't impressed. I gotta say, playing devil's advocate, the 4 games that he played, 2 of which were versus the Niners, we were decimated on defense. I think a lot of backs could have ran more than 100 yards on that defense at that time. So I think it's a little skewed. Obviously, he went off in the Super Bowl. I gotta give him credit for that. But I don't know if I'm 100% sold on how incredible Kenneth Walker is. I think he's a great back.
Went off for the Rams too, Kenzie.
He had 62 yards.
He went off his whole career.
Okay. Here's what I don't get. We got our 2 ex-Broncos saying Kenneth Walker to Kansas City is the move of the day. But what if somehow they had been able to draft Jeremiah Love at 9? What would you say about that?
Well,
Would that not be a better move than Kenneth Walker?
Got the best tackle available in free agency. Then draft. It's like I'm just looking at the full picture. You know what I'm saying? You get the best running back available. Now you got number 9. You're going to probably get the top tackle, if not the top tackle, the next tackle. You're filling 2 major holes in your offense that's going to shake you back. They interior 3 are already top tier. You know what I'm saying? They got 1 tackle. Look. I just like how I like the route they going in right now.
Okay. Who will be better next year, Jeremiah Love or Kenneth Walker?
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker. Jeremiah end up with somebody who ain't got no offensive line.
But and to that point, Skip, it's you said it yourself. They don't even know if they're going to get Jeremiah Love at 9. So that
no, but I'm just saying that's what it boils down to. Is it sounded like it was going to be Jeremiah Love, and all of a sudden he knocked everybody's socks off at the combine, and so you anticipate he won't be there at 9. But I'm just saying that you're saying Kenneth Walker, who clearly was their plan B, is going to be the move of the day.
How was he their plan B though? I don't understand how he was their plan B. When they was an hour into free agency, they got their guy. So that looked like that's more like a plan A. Love looked like he may have been a plan B. If we don't get this guy or this guy, now we can try to get a tackle and we can get Love. That seemed like that's the plan B in my opinion.
Okay, how much more scared would you have been if they had gotten Jeremiah Love?
Walker is proof in the pudding. He a Super Bowl MVP. If Jeremiah Love didn't kill that combine the way he did, he may not even be a top 10 pick. He may.
You're right. That is correct.
He run 239 or whatever.
I don't know about that though. A lot of people had Jeremiah Love as the number 1 prospect in this draft, regardless of what happened at the combine. I think a team in the top might have the Titans at 4. I think.
But you know how that combine go. If he come in and he don't run he run 4.5. Now where you got him?
So watch the game tape.
I'm
going to call him and hurdle one of our defenders 5 yards in the air, land it, and keep running. That kid.
Yeah, no, it's cold for sure.
He can do it all.
Either way, I'm still going to take the guy who had the production in the league and the biggest stage in the league. I'm still going to take that guy before I take a college guy. So I'm still going Kenneth Walker, and I think he had a better year.
Okay, but here's Kenzie's point that I'm going to echo. For 2/3 of the year, all I kept hearing about Seattle is they can't run the ball. And they did do the joint backs, the duo. But you love, Keeb, you love Mike McDonald, thinks he's young, upcoming genius coach. And he was doing that. He was splitting carries with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker for a reason, because he thought Charbonnet could bring things that Kenneth Walker couldn't bring. And in the red zone, that he could get it in the end zone better than Kenneth Walker could. So I'm just saying that went for really about 3/4 of the year until he finally took off. And they took off. Seattle took off. The defense took off. Everything gelled. Sam Darnold took off. Everything clicked. And around Kenneth Walker, it was all clicking. The offensive line was clicking. And I'm just not sure he's a great addition to Kansas City. I'm just not sure that you won't have some games next year where you'll be saying, well, he's just okay. He's just.
I think he comes in. He damn near he played 4 seasons. 1 year he got 900. Okay, that's 1,000 yards in 3 out of his 4 seasons. You know what I'm saying? So it's his running style that you can't coach. You know what I'm saying? It's his break tackle that you can't coach. That's the part He got that body, man, that 5'10", 215. Them the most explosive guys in the league. You look at all the guys who 5'10", 215, bro. Them the Debos and the McCaffreys and the Kenneth Walkers. That's that body. Them guys are put the ball in their hand. Let them go.
I got it.
And they home run threats.
They the home run threats, bro.
You give him a dump down, like you said, Kenzie. You said he only had 64 yards rushing, but he had 164 yards total. That's 200 yards of offense.
Yeah, and to Lee's point, sometimes, there's running backs that need a great offensive line to be productive. There's running backs that can be productive even when there's a guy in the hole, and we've seen Kenneth Walker do that. So with the struggles the Chiefs had last year with their offensive line and the injuries, if that happens next year, I would still feel confident as Andy Reid or Bieniemy, knowing I can give the ball to Walker if there's an unblocked defender, if there's a force safety down inside the box. I know that he can make a guy miss and still turn a negative gain into a positive play. That's important to have at the running back position, and that's where Walker excels.
Let's talk about momentum real quick.
We're going to see what happens with Kansas City and Kenneth Walker, but I want to stick on the Kansas City topic because it's looking like all signs are pointing to Travis Kelce is headed back to the Chiefs. So there's been talk for a while now about him retiring. So, Keith, is this a good move or a bad for the Chiefs to bring back Travis Kelce?
I think it's a good move, man, because as long as he's on that roster, defense is going to have to prepare for him. You got to worry about him on third down. You got to worry about him in the red zone. So you add a nice run game, and he's a willing blocker, so he could play on first and second down. He could get in there 12 personnel and block. You add a good running game with Kelce. Now you're going to see him running through zones and getting open in man coverage because a guy think he got a crack replace, and then he's running free. So I think it's a great move by them to bring Kelce back, man. This is probably going to be his last year. You might as well. Why not, man? He still was productive last year. Man, he'll still be productive with a better run game. He'll be even more productive this year, man. So I love to play. I love to move by him, man. Why not? If he want to play, like I said before, I'll be on his line trying to encourage him to play. As soon as he want to play, I'm signing him quick.
Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer too. You want one thing you want coming back with from an injured quarterback coming back with is comfort and consistency, and that's what him and Travis Kelce have. It's not like Travis Kelce had a dud year. He still had 851 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. All right, he averaging 11 yards a catch. So with that run game, like Lee said, it's going to open up so much more play action, so many more holes in the zone defense where Kelce does a lot of his damage is just sitting there and run after the catch. So now you got 2 players on your offense that catch the ball short and make big plays with the run after the catch. So I think it was great to bring him back. I know he want to retire a Chief. I know the Chiefs want him to retire as a Chief. So if they can have one more run with him, Mahomes, and the new players that surrounding them this year, why not? Why not? So I think it's a great. And then what else is on the market? Who else you gonna get out there at tight end? Like who else you got Kittle, he's hurt. Andrews had a decent season. Laporta, these all guys that are gonna be sticking with their teams. You have McBride in Arizona. Like Kelce is still the top of that end of tight ends in this league, right? You got some young guys coming up, Kraft and old buddy from Chicago that are making plays. But at the end of the day, the proof is what you have done. And Kelce has year in and year out been the top end of the tight end position in this league.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was a great move by the Chiefs. You want guys on your roster that want to be there. And it was reported that Kelce was getting offers or better offers from other teams around the league, but he still wanted to stay in Kansas City. He's won multiple Super Bowl there, and he's been a staple for that offense. I know people talked about, him having a down year statistically from what we're used to seeing, but he still led the team in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He's also top 5 amongst tight ends in receiving yards, and he was 6th in receptions. So the productivity is still there, even when Mahomes got hurt at the end of the season. So, yeah, I think this was a really good move by them. You want to retain as much as you can on your roster to run it back one more time. You have Mahomes coming back from injury. He's going to have some comfortability with Travis Kelce being there. That's always been his safety blanket. So, yeah, I think it's a great move by them to sign him to one more year and see how it goes for another season.
So, Kenzie, have they reported any money yet? Because I can't open up to find it. There's no money on Kelce. They were talking about paying him more this coming year than they paid him last year. And
I don't think that'd be a good idea if they do
that. They were like down on their knees for him to come back. And I don't understand it because, as Cody says, he led the team in all these receiving categories and they went 6-11. So I don't get it. He's going to play at 37 next year.
Mm-hmm.
And to my eye, he's lost a half a step. I don't see him uncovering the way he used to. And with Mahomes' numbers falling each of the last 3 years, and now he's not going to be as mobile as he used to be coming off his knee surgery. It's like you're reaching back into the past, and you keep reaching and reaching, and the past gets farther away and farther away, and you want a blast from the past that's no longer there. And it just seems like there's a lot of run it back. And I realized that once upon a time, the connection between Kelce and Mahomes was the greatest receiver quarterback connection I've ever seen. Just their chemistry, their wavelength, their Kelce's ability just to uncover, just to get open, and Patrick to go with him and find him, just playing backyard football. I've never seen anything like it. But he's 37 years old, and I just don't think it's going to be nearly as effective next year as it even was this past year when they went 6-11. And Akib always says, "Just show me the record." Well, that's who they were. They were 6-11. I know Mahomes.
They lost a bunch of one score games that they easily won with one mistake at the end of the game. So, I mean, that's football. You live in the Super Bowl for 3-4 years, you might have a 6-11 year. What you do, how you bounce back from that. So, I don't know. I think that connection that you're talking about, I think it was still there last year. They still made plays last year. I watched them play. I watched them play the Broncos. He uncovered on Pat Surtain one time. Looked like he got juice to me. You know, it's 2026, Skip. 37 is really like being like 32 right now. You know what I'm saying? These guys play a little bit longer now. They got stem cell. Motherfuckers go out the country, get stem cell. They got all kind of cryotherapy, hyperbaric chambers.
They do.
They keep you young now. So these guys, they just could play a little bit longer if they want to nowadays.
It's not official, but looking like 15 million 1 year.
15. Well, I can't remember. I think he's 13 last year. I think they went up a little bit on that. Okay, so what I don't understand is the psychology of our two ex-Broncos raving about the Chiefs. On every move the Chiefs make, you guys just say, "Oh, that's a great move. That's the move of the day." And it's like, are you just trying to build them up so you can undercut them, or what? I don't get what's the hidden agenda here. What is going on?
It's called game recognized game, Skip. You got to recognize when they putting in some good games.
Yeah.
Seeing how good of a season we had last year, they like, shit, we got to get this shit right because we're going to be the bottom end of this AFC for a long time if we don't curve these ways. But, hey,
Skip,
you got to give recognition.
Skip, he was 34 million for 2 years, so it was 17 million a year. So it actually is a step down with the 15.
Okay, all right.
Skip, it's called just getting on the show and giving my honest opinion. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
The team is
no bias.
What the player is. I'm just gonna give my honest opinion. I feel like they filled a major gap with Kenneth Walker. Now it's gonna allow them to fill another gap with that top pick. And Kelce involved in that. Him and Rasheed working underneath is a great combo. One of them is slow and twitchy and knowledgeable, and one of them got the juice. He's super explosive. So I feel like them two working underneath, they got a guy who go up top. I just like what they putting together right now. So
and I remind you, they just lost both of their starting corners, who are both really, really good, and they're both Los Angeles Rams as we speak.
They did. A lot of work to do on that defense.
I
said they had to bring in another corner in LA, but they did that. So
they did.
Yeah.
They got a really good one.
So Seattle they're ready to be. They problem to beat Seattle, right, bud? Because that's the second corner that you was talking about, right?
Yeah, it definitely puts them in a great position to do that for sure, Lee. Like you said, you got to bring in two dogs, or already have one, and bring one in.
They got two dogs now.
Yeah.
Well, majority of the guys are happy with with Travis Kelce staying, but let's move on. Let's stick in division here because obviously.